4, 3, 2, 1. And hello, everybody. How's it going? How's everybody doing? I hope you guys are doing so good. And we are going to begin this incredible interview. Today I have this is amazing because I feel like this was like a last minute interview and Tad was so kind and so generous to be here with us. And I just really thank you all the way from China. Tad is a 3-time Grammy nominated producer and songwriter. He has 20 #1 hit songs worldwide. That's amazing. He is currently the A&R of RCA Records. He has worked with artists like Luis Fonsi, Troye Sivan, Santana, Pitbull, Hailee Steinfeld, Kaskade, CNCO, Sebastian Yatra. His discography has gone 80 times platinum. And like I said before, with over 20 #1 hits out of over 60 top 20 hits worldwide. And he is a member of a production writing duo called the Swaggernauts with American Idol Season 10 alumnus Giovanni Javier. Hey, Giovanni. He is presently signed to Universal Music Publishing. He is an incredible human being. Give it up for Tad. Yay, Tad. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Yep, I was just waiting for you to finish, so
perfect.
There's no echoes. But thank you. That was very generous. And as you were talking, you're saying all those things. I was just kind of reflecting on on two things. Firstly, I feel like I need to update my bio, and second, I think my life is really different now as an A&R, like compared to when we were all kind of creatives together working in LA. It wasn't so long ago, but it just feels like a lifetime ago. If you know what I mean? Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway.
Of course. We can't wait to hear exactly what you're doing right now. And let's just start from the beginning, shall we? When you were younger, what motivated you to take your passion for music beyond just like a hobby and to pursue it as your career?
That's a great question. I don't know if anything really motivated me, but it was more like me being demotivated by my real job once I left college and wanting to, sometimes like when you're young, you don't know exactly what you want. Like I feel like in life, you go through a process of elimination where you do all these things and you're like, oh, that wasn't so great. Oh, I thought that was going to be so much better. It actually kind of sucks. And then over time, it just became clearer and clearer to me. That music was the way to go. Obviously, there were obstacles. My parents were really worried, being typical Asian parents about the financial side, which is completely valid. We all know how tough, things are as creatives to make money. I mean, making music is fun and all, but when it comes time to pay the bills, can you pay the bills? Like, how are you going to pay the bills? And especially when you're just starting out, there's so many obstacles. So, but all that said, I decided, once I got some savings to just go and do it. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm so glad for you. That is a beautiful decision and it's a hard one too. So good for you. Did you ever see?
I mean, all that being said, I still ended up as a salaried employee of Sony Music, after all these years. So
yeah, but that doesn't mean
I don't know if I'm qualified to really, I went back to the ranks of salaried employees. I'm not really like pursuing my dream anymore. So yeah.
I see. So which takes me to the second question, because now this is your perspective now. And when you started, did you ever see yourself like making a living in music?
Did I ever see as a kid? No. Like I always loved music, and my parents, bless them, they were very supportive. As long as it stayed like, kind of a side thing you did for fun, like a hobby, they were all for it. But no, like I was also really realistic about things, and so while I was super involved in music through like middle school, high school, college, when it came time to buckle down and actually get a job. I had a job like with the Singapore Navy, so they paid money for college. I was on a scholarship. And so there wasn't really an option, but even if there was, I feel like I would have just, I was a computer science major, so I might have just gone into a computer job just like anyone else. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. That I feel like, well, music production and, and computer science, did you mention computer
Yes.
science? I mean, they're both involve some, of course, thinking and some, production and some um behind the scenes. So that's so fun how you think you're going to end up somewhere, but whatever you do in life kind of helps you along the way, right? It helps you to get to where you really want to be, I guess, in somewhere or another. Do you
Yeah.
feel that
I
way?
mean, the way I would see it is I don't know how much, to be honest, the computer science helped. Both my real job and the music side. I mean, I was always kind of techie when I was younger, so I don't know if the formal computer science education actually helped that much. But what I'll say is getting the scholarship got me to Cornell, nice Ivy League school in the US, and then that was also at that point, a cappella was exploding in campuses across America. And Cornell was one of those schools with 14 a cappella groups, like in my time. I feel like it's closer to 20 now. But the a cappella group was what really brought me into the world of pop music and seriously singing, and also kind of production. Basically, we ran out of money, and then so we had to record some songs, to complete the album, and then I was just kind of the unpaid producer for the group. And so that was when I kind of learned everything on YouTube and forums and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God, that's
that really, I
amazing.
feel like, was not the college, not the formal education, but the fact that I was there and in a cappella. I feel like that was really the springboard for me. Yeah.
Amazing. I didn't know you were self-taught. That is
Completely self-taught. Yeah. I kind of wish I had gone to Berkeley or MI or one of those fancy schools, but oh well. Yeah.
wow,
It would
that's
have been a lot easier for sure. It's so difficult to self-teach. Yeah.
but it's amazing. And it just shows you that you can do it. There isn't probably, if you would have gone to any of those music schools, it would have probably been a little faster. But at the same time, I feel like there's so many things that you learn just by doing them, in maybe not like a school scenario, just like an outside scenario that you were doing right away. So that's incredible.
No, for sure. I feel like also what I want to say is, just looking back, I think the early 2000s were when a lot of technical hurdles started getting dismantled in music production, right? I mean, before that in the 90s, you needed like a six-figure sum investment to even make a simple tune in an actual recording studio, right? But now, but at that point, a few things happened. I think auto-tune became a plugin. Pro Tools started getting more tracks. And so all of these things. And so even when I was in college in the early 2000s, yes, I'm old, I could actually make music on my laptop and tune vocals and stuff. So all of that became possible right when I went to college. And now it's even easier, like I've been playing with a lot of AI technology recently, and it's just amazing, like you don't even have to know how to really mix a record anymore. I remember just kind of fiddling around with EQs and compressors and stuff, and now you just like ask the computer to analyze the vocal or the guitar or whatever, and then it comes out with a setting that sounds much better than what I would have been able to achieve maybe 10 years ago. So it's just
Yeah.
amazing. Like there's so little in the way of technical hurdles these days, and it's more really about the creative aspect. So it's a great time to be a better musician. Yeah.
Incredible. I love that. Wow. AI, artificial intelligence, is a whole nother topic that I would love to discuss at any other point, but it's definitely making a huge impact, that's for sure. So I believe at some point you were signed as an artist with this group Wapea, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you describe some of the key differences between working as an artist compared to the perspective you have now in the A&R world? And for those out there who do not know what an A&R is, can you tell us more or less what you do?
Sure, maybe I'll answer the second question first, right?
Sure.
Since this is kind of a talk about centered around that. So A&R is artist and repertoire. So we do both. If you split it up, it's artist and repertoire, right? So the A part is we find talent, the artists, we sign them, and then we guide them, like in terms of actually all aspects, but for A&Rs, we focus on music. So we think about how they can better connect with their fans or grow their fan base and make music that does that connection. And then on the repertoire side, some artists need more assistance than others. Some artists just need some encouraging words or some perspective on whether their songs are going to connect. And so we use our experience. Obviously, it's still, not 100%, but we try to advise the artists in ways that will benefit them, especially financially. That's why artists sign to labels, so they can make money. So we help them make money. Or if they don't write, if they just have great voices, but they don't write, and that's fine too. So we'll work with songwriters, we'll arrange sessions, or we'll just straight up find songs for them. Yeah. So that's what A&R does.
Amazing. Amazing.
And so the second part, what's different? I mean, it's two sides of the same coin, right? So as an artist signed to Universal Latino, I was working most closely with my A&R at Universal Latino. So that's a connection. And at that point, it was two people, actually, the boss of the label, Rebellion, Sebastian Chris, and also his assistant Duarte, who is now a full-fledged A&R at UMG Latino. So we were working very closely with them to come up with the sound of the music. They were giving us a lot of constructive feedback along the way, especially because we were doing a project that wasn't cookie cutter. It was kind of a cross-cultural, like Chino Latino, Asian Latin kind of project. So we were kind of delving into the unknown, and so we needed a lot of, artists, we can be so in our heads a lot of times. So it was really helpful to get that outside perspective. And obviously, Chris is someone who is just, we don't even have to talk about how great he is because his record speaks for itself. So that was really very helpful. And that was like the part I really appreciated the most. And now that I'm an A&R looking at it from the other side, I kind of want to always keep in mind that perspective, how it felt like to be an artist, the amount of fear, self-doubt, not knowing like whether anything was going to work. So, being on the other side as an A&R, I feel like a lot of times we are the motivational coach, we are the therapist sometimes too, and all of that, because making music is not a robotic process. We're dealing with human beings. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was really amazing and inspiring. Talking about inspiring, for all aspiring and inspiring artists, what's one piece of advice you can give to artists to best position themselves to land a deal with a record label in today's world? Because it's very different today's world than what we used to think, maybe 10 years ago, even. It's really different, the process. Can you talk about that?
Yes, so I feel like the rise of bedroom recording has changed, and streaming has changed the whole industry. So with bedroom recording, really, like these days, labels, we don't have to sign a bar singer with 0 recordings and then make that investment just based on gut feeling and then put it out and see how the market reacts. Because at this point, there are any number of bedroom musicians out there, hundreds of thousands, who are already making music in their bedrooms with their own investment, putting it out there and getting feedback from the market. And that feedback is extremely transparent. We can see it in IG engagement. We can see it in TikTok. We can see it on streaming platforms like YouTube Music or Spotify. All of that is out there. Everyone can see it. It is completely transparent. And so I think as a label, these days, we look at who has something that the market's responding to, along with obviously as an A&R, my number one priority is still always the music. But we are all in this to make profits, right? For the artist's sake and for the company's sake. So we have to look at the way the market's reacting. And the thing about the current scene is we don't have to guess anymore. We know, right? We know, we have our models. We can extrapolate, say, like, based on where you are now, okay, like if everything looks solid and we feel like we can offer value to you to make it even bigger, then yeah, there's a case for a conversation, there's a case to sign you. But before that, even if your music's great, and even if as an A&R, I really believe in you, as a label, we have limited resources and profit pressures. And so we're going to always have to look at other artists that have more of their ducks lined up in a row, as opposed to just great music. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. And I feel like definitely what you were mentioning with TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff, the more you can be present in those places, the better, I guess.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
more people can see if it's good what you're doing, then the more chances you get to get signed, right?
Exactly. And I want to add too that I was just having this conversation with an old friend of mine who might have some material that RCA may want to look at. And so he was asking me, how should I, what should I send to you guys? I mean, he's a seasoned artist. He's had a 15-year career. He knows what he's doing, but it's also a new kind of scene and a new market for him in China. And so I said, very simple, the way we do things is we don't evaluate it just based on music. So A&R is just one decision, one decision point. We also have to decide based on marketing potential, life potential, and brand potential even, because all of these things it's slightly different in the US, but in China, our label is full service. So when we do a 360 deal, we actually cover all these aspects. So we try to help the artist monetize every facet of their career for mutual benefit. It's a win-win if that happens. So in terms of brands, it's, our brand's already interested in you. And as an artist, like I've seen several bedroom musicians in the last few months that have come to us and they're already like, oh, we got hit up on IG by so-and-so brand. And one of them had brought a guitar to the studio and played us a few songs. At the end, her momager was like, hey, so that FYI, that a little flex, right? That guitar was donated, well, not donated, was given to her by Taylor because they really liked her playing on IG. And this is a girl that doesn't have a lot of figures or traction yet. She has good engagement, but her figures are still quite small. But already brands are like throwing guitars and stuff at her. So you see that's already like a great data point for us. It shows that it's connecting. So on the brand side, on the live side, this same girl was like, oh, I just came to China for a vacation, but then people started responding to my 30-second clips of covers online. And before you know it, I was booked playing Guangzhou, in Shenzhen, and in Beijing, which are like 3 out of the 4 big cities, first-tier cities in China. So we're like, wow, you got a mini tour going on while you're on vacation. And she was like, yeah, I actually don't know how it happened. I was just putting up these random songs online and suddenly I got booked. So again, all that to say for us, that's also a great sign. Because A, we know that she has live potential. We know that she delivered live. We watched those live clips. They were lovely. And the audience was reacting and everything. So that was good. So second data point. And then obviously, then A&R comes in. Are the songs good? If the songs aren't good, do I feel like I can add value? Do I vibe with your sound? Can I make it better? And then the fourth pillar, obviously, marketing. Like, is this something that we feel like can be marketed? And then that's really market specific because every market is different. In China, we look for kind of different things than the US looks for, etc. There are some artists that have some political issues. And so unfortunately, that makes them a non-starter in our market, but that doesn't mean they aren't great artists. So all of these factors come in. Yeah.
Wow.
I hope that helps.
Yeah, that's very helpful. I know we have a couple of questions, but we'll answer them later on. I won't forget.
Feel free to interrupt if I'm getting too long-winded.
No. I feel like you're explaining everything really well, and it's really impressive how everything has changed so much since I basically started music school. Like 10 years ago or more than that.
No, it's true. So I guess the whole takeaway, if I were to sum all that up, is it's so possible for young artists to get things done on their own. So in a sense, like the major label, you don't even need a major label anymore. If you just want to release music and have that level of success, treat us as a way to amplify your success. So if you want to go from this to Taylor Swift, then yes, Sony Music is a good fit for you. If you just want to perform and be happy and you're okay with those few thousand fans, then maybe you should just do that, be happy, keep your money, because at a label we have high overheads too. We'll take a certain percentage of your money. So you have to decide if that's worth it for you. So the major labels are not the only game in town anymore. And you have to decide what your goals are. And if we align, then we have a business partnership, then we can work together. Yep.
Super. Love it. Good. So another big component of being like an artist is working with a team. Can you talk about the process of connecting an artist with a song and how songwriters fit into this puzzle? Like, how do songwriters help?
Connecting artists with, I'm not sure I get your question.
So for example, how can a songwriter connect with a specific artist? How can you place a song?
Oh, okay. You're talking about placements.
Yeah, like how can a songwriter be part of that artist team and place a song with the artist?
Okay. This is basically almost verbatim what I talked about on IG, right? In one of my recent posts. So I'll just try to summarize it. There are 4 levels, right? When you first start out, you see all these huge artists. You see Miley Cyrus. You're like, how the hell do I work with Miley Cyrus? The truth is, unfortunately, you're not going to work with Miley Cyrus until you get a Justin Bieber cut. So it's very chicken and egg at first, and it's frustrating, and I know, but we all got past that stage. You will too if you work hard enough and if you have some luck, So yeah, but all that to say, the artist, to get to the artist is the number one. I was very lucky. I got Troye when he had no releases. I got Troye when they hadn't even announced he was signed to Universal. And so his career, as it grew, has also been really beneficial for me. Yeah, in all aspects, reputation-wise, as well as royalties. So if you can find a way to get to an artist when they're small, if they explode, then that's number one. The second tier down is people like myself or artist manager. So one level removed, if you can get to a label A&R who's a friend, then it's direct, right? If I like the song, then I pitch it to the artist. So there's 2 steps now, right? Then the third step is, the third level down is if you're signed to a publisher, then you can ask your publisher to pitch a song, and then your publisher will filter your songs, and then they'll pitch it to me, and then I'll filter more, and then your song makes the cut, I'll pitch it to the artist. So that's like 2 levels removed. And then the last level is cold emailing, which you will face a lot of rejection and ghosting, but that's the way it is. Yeah.
Awesome. And for those of you who do not know what a publisher is, it's basically you sign your songs to a publisher and they will shop your songs around and they will place it either with artists or whatever you're doing at that moment. That's great. So just piggybacking on that, do cold emails really work?
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. So I will say that you will get rejected most of the time, like 90+% of the time. You won't get an answer, or you'll get a negative answer. And most of the time, and I used to get kind of perturbed. I used to get kind of like, A&Rs are so rude. Why can't they respond to me? And then I became an A&R and I understood, because my mailbox is flooded every single day. I have a company spam filter that filters out even my legitimate friends or colleagues' emails. So I physically don't see a lot of what people send me, which I guess is better for my own mental health, because otherwise I would never get any work done. But whatever, that's beside the point. So but sometimes they do. So when I got the Troye cut back in 2014, right, his first song, then Giovanni and I had just become a team at that point, and then Giovanni was like, "Great, it's time to get going, right? We have our first kind of crack, like our first, the door is now ajar. Let's push it like wide open and let's go in and get it, right? So we sent emails we got this Excel spreadsheet with lots of different emails for A&R, some of which are completely outdated, I guess. But anyway, we went through that and we just like spent days just cold emailing everyone. And our friend Aurora gave us a tip. Like at that point, she was like, yeah, make your title something like intro. So something short and intriguing so people want to click on it. So our title was intro, and then in the body of the email it was an introduction to us. We had just gotten that Troye cut. I had some cuts in Asia at that point. Giovanni had his thing with, I think, Santana Pitbull at that point. And so we just put all that together to make the first paragraph look as like bam, 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 impressive as possible. And then after that, we're like, oh, we'd love to work with so and some artists. Here are a couple demos, only a couple, not too many. So that was that. And then we obviously got ghosted by most A&Rs, but Shah Money XL, who was the guy that signed 50 Cent, he was the SVP of A&R Epic back then. And so, yeah, he read the email. And then we were invited to a chat at Sony Music in Culver City. So we went and then we had a chat with him, and then he set us up with some sessions with some of his smaller artists. But which was good. I mean, it was a break. And now all these years later, full circle, I'm working at RCA. So
that's incredible. I feel like you should, if you really believe in this, and if you really want to, whatever your definition of making it is, then you shouldn't give up. And I feel like rejection is part of being redirected, right?
yeah,
It's part of being like, okay, maybe this is not the artist you want to work with or write with, but maybe, hey, let's try this to
yeah,
see if it's possible this way. And that's incredible that you guys just went for it. And and for all the artists out there and the songwriters out there who feel like, oh, if I send it to this label, they're gonna reject me and boohoo, I'm gonna cry and all that stuff. Like, expect that, and I feel like it's better to send it than to not send it, because at least you send it, and well, if you get rejected, whatever, but like not sending it at all that's already itself a rejection, right?
yeah. One thing I will say is that, like two things. So firstly, social media is your friend. Social media is many times more useful than cold emailing. Because A&Rs, we're always on IG, right? We're probably spending more time on IG than we are on email, because we hate email, but we love IG. So because IG enables us to find new things, right? Whereas email is all boring corporate stuff. So if you have a presence on IG, if you know people, if you're putting out your own songs, whether they're snippets or whatever, and if some of them are actually good, chances are, with that plus knowing people, the algorithm is going to recommend your stuff to A&R, so A&Rs will see it, and then if they like it, then it's not a cold email anymore, because we just listened to your song, so you're past it. And then if we like it, we might just DM you. I just DM'd a couple of young artists the other day. I do that all the time. Yep.
Bam, that's a golden nugget, people. Grab it while it's hot. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good. So with that, what are the qualities you look for at like a number one hit song? Both in terms of like the song itself and like how does it fit with the artist?
Oh wow. Wow. So actually, I recorded a whole bunch of content last Sunday because I was so motivated. I'm actually going to release a short clip later on that exact topic. So
Incredible.
I feel like it's two things. So obviously, no one can predict a hit these days. There's just so many hits. Even at the label, all we can do is we can make things that we think are good, right? At least for me, my philosophy as an A&R is always make good music that makes sense for the artists. Like, I don't believe in manufacturing. I don't believe in forcing music down people's throats. So the artists, their release is good. in our evaluation. That's why we release it. But whatever happens later is really up to the market. We have no control over it. Sometimes songs like die and then they come alive 10 years later, right? On TikTok, that happens all the time. So we never know. But all that being said, so maybe let's reframe the question. Let's talk about how we select songs for an artist, right? So if the artist brings a whole bunch of songs to us, I just look for two things. It's quite simple. So the first thing is, can I remember it like after the first listen? Is it catchy? Is there something in it, or multiple things that preferably the more the merrier, that grab me and that are easy to remember and that get stuck? So are there earworms, multiple earworms in the song, right? The second thing that I look for is, does it move me emotionally? And there's different ways to do that. And it doesn't mean a song has to be sad or deep. You know, sometimes songs, a lot of times songs are very simple, but what moves is, I don't know, I can't define it, but it's about communication, right? Sometimes people talk to you and they move you. Sometimes people talk to you and it's just blah, blah, blah noise, whatever, right? So aim to do that with your music, whether it's a party song about getting effed up in the club, or whether it's about a heartbreak song, or whether it's a song about, I love the Bruno Mars Lazy Song example because it's such a great song and it's a song about literally doing nothing. But that's a feeling too, and it connects, right? It's humorous, but it also, there's an emotion in there that connects. So I would say, yeah, those two things. Is it sticky and does it connect emotionally? Yeah.
Incredible. I love that song. I basically hear it almost every Sunday.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's so great. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Let's talk about how okay, people might not know this, but you are an amazing singer. Like amazing. I hope I
With
tell it.
auto-tune.
No,
Without
you're
auto-tune, the
amazing, amazing
illusion is
singer.
destroyed.
So one thing that labels seem to look for in artists are that like unique and like very recognizable voice. What tips can you give us to develop and achieve that without kind of like selling out yourself or like losing yourself as an artist? Because we tend to like copy, sometimes we tend to copy a lot. Like, you know, like if you say Adele, for example, has a very particular voice. And
Yeah.
sometimes we want to just like mimic exactly how she sings. But how can, you know, can you give us some tips on that?
I don't know, man. So there's two parts, right? The way you sing is determined by your genetics, like the way your skull is shaped, your mouth, your tongue is shaped. And then the second is through your life experiences, right? Where you grew up, the kinds of languages you speak, all that. So all that, or the kinds of music you listen to growing up. So all that plays a part. I mean, there's just so many ways to do it. One very classic case study is how Max Martin made Britney sing in that Britney way, right? If you watch clips of Britney when she was 12 years old, she had a big voice. She was kind of like a diva belter, kind of like Christina. But then after she met Max gave her like that baby doll nasal voice that kind of stuck and defined her. So it can be as manufactured as that. I don't think copying someone is the answer, though. I prefer to use the word inspired by. So like it or not, we're the sum of all our musical inspirations through life. And so if you like something and you listen to enough of it and process it internally, it's going to come out in some way, right? And I feel like that is probably more natural than or more helpful than just trying to sound like a second, whoever, fill in the blank. Yeah. And then, I hate to say it, but it's just one of those things where you know it when you hear it. I don't know how else to say it. This is how some people have a thing that sticks. So it's just like writing a hook in a song. You can talk all day about the technique of writing hooks, but people break the rules all the time. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that was really well said, and I love it. That's great. Awesome. So, like for example, if you aspire to be a big time artist, a very big, incredible selling out artist, and and you want to open for another artist, how does an up and coming artist earn the opportunity to work with someone who may have a bigger audience stage?
Look, the music industry, I said this in an earlier video on my IG as well. It's all about relationships. So the short answer is relationships will get you there. Whether it's a relationship through you or through your team. So for example, if you're an artist signed to Sony Music, then our team will work very hard to get you opportunities, right, in all directions. So well, when it comes time to open, like if you want to get an opening slot with a much bigger artist, then let's say you're in China and let's say, I don't know, Lil Nas X comes to China for a stop, then we're going to look through a roster, find someone suitable, pitch it to his team. If he's cool, then we get on. So it's that. If you're indie, then I feel like your best route is, again, you team or yourself, right? It's that simple. So if you have a manager that knows someone who can get there, then it's just a matter of a conversation. And then obviously for the other party, different people look for different things. So the bigger artists would weigh different factors differently. So from the quality of your music to whether they vibe with you as a person to, I don't know, like people want different things. So it's really just a matter of just like when you pitch anything, knowing what the other person wants and seeing if it's a good fit or how you can make yourself seem like a more attractive fit. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's great.
Or it could be as simple as you being friends with the artist and then they blew up and then now you're on their show. I mean, things like that happen all
Of
the time,
course. Yeah, I was just gonna say,
It's
like,
all
if
about people.
the artist, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. If the artist chooses as well, so that means yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So we are almost to the end, and we're gonna just do like one question. If somebody else has a question, we can just do it very quickly.
Is there
So
stuff in the chat? Oh.
there's one question in the chat. But before that, I wanted to ask you what advice you will give to all those dreamers out there.
Dreamers? What advice? I would say that the music industry is a heartbreaking place, like all creative industries. Most people end up heartbroken, unfortunately, because it's just so tough emotionally and on your mental health, and you never know when or if you're ever going to make it. So before you embark on this road, like doing it full time, make sure that there's nothing else in the world that you could conceivably see yourself doing. Because if you're happy for music to just be a side thing, then in many ways, I feel like that's better. I am very blessed to be in the music industry, to have worked with so many wonderful artists, and to be in my position with Sony Music. But at the same time, every single day, I miss the times when I was just making music for the fun of it, because it just changes. Your relationship with music is never the same after you try to do it for a living. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong. There's no shame in having it as a hobby. There are many times I feel like maybe, if I were to live my life again, I always think about whether it would have all been better if it were just a hobby. And most times my answer is no. I like what I'm doing. So yeah, but for many people, they don't understand the degree of sacrifice you have to make in this industry for little to no return for an indefinite period of time. So yeah.
Incredible. I think you said it really well. So where can we find you if you want to be found and follow you to keep up like with your latest projects?
Yeah, you can find me on IG. So apologies if I don't respond to your DMs. I only check the others folder now and then because I don't have too much time in my day. I don't want to spend too much time on IG as well. But yeah, I mean, send me a message, and yeah, when I check my others folder, I'll try to respond and stuff, or leave a comment or stuff. My IG is T2 Tat Tong. I'll just write it in
I put it over there
in the
Yep.
chat. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a Twitter account. It's not active. I would just like not look at that. I think IG is probably the best way to get in touch with me. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. So good. So before we go, I think Tierney Milua had like a question. She said, what is the best tip for songwriting and growing your vocal range?
Okay, I think that's two parts to that. I think the best tip for songwriting is to write with a lot of people, write alone, write all the time. Because I feel like a lot of people wait till inspiration hits, but I feel like the harder you work, the more inspiration comes to you, you know. But the flip side of that is if you feel burned out, take a break, and inspiration also comes at different times, like when you least expect it, when you're in the bus, in the shower, whatever. Yeah, so just keep writing, and even if you feel like it sucks, just finish the song. It's just a song, and go on to the next. That's something I tell all my artists. Don't get hung up on any one thing. And then on growing your vocal range, I'm a huge proponent of healthy singing. I also tell all my artists, because right now I'm managing a roster of huge voice artists, and I have to keep telling them to take it easy and not get to a point where, you know, you grow vocal notes or hurt your cords, because then, you know, even if you can get surgery, it's never the same. So protect your instrument. So on top of growing your vocal range through practice and imitating other great singers, I think it's really important to have at least a couple vocal lessons so you know what you're doing and you don't hurt yourself. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. And then she also said, like, what's the best tip for getting a record deal? I feel like we kind of talked about it. Just be present in IG and Instagram, and make sure that you are exposing yourself out there, right? Be
Yeah, in real
present.
life too, like by writing songs with many people, not only are you making your songs better and better over time, but you're also increasing your network of people that know you. And so people will talk about you, right? Both online and in person. And especially online, like the more people know you and talk about you, those are all factors that the algorithm takes into consideration when it decides whether to show your content to so and so. So if you know, say one of my colleagues at Arista, for example, and they dig you and you have interactions, then it's very likely that I will see your videos. I'll be served your videos at RCA. So yeah.
Incredible. Well, it was incredible to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. We have learned so
Bye.
much. And oh, Kim says hi.
Oh, hey.
Or
Bye.
Tirna Malua says bye. And thank you so much for your time. It's really incredible. And thank you for taking a few minutes to just motivate us and just making sure that we know exactly what the music industry is about nowadays. Because I feel like some people might have another perspective, and you just made it like super clear for all of us, for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, like, I hope I didn't like I'm never about sugarcoating things, because it is a very tough place, and I feel like the sooner we come to terms with that, the better. And so if you really want to be in the industry, then accept that it's a tough place, but also know that good things happen every day to good people. So yeah.
Incredible. Thank you so much, Tad. I hope I can get to see you at least one day if you come to LA or something.
Yeah, I hope to. Maybe later this year. Things are really kind of crazy in China right now, but yeah, I hope to come back too. I miss all of you.
Awesome. All right. Thank you and goodbye. Have a great time. And thank you to all of you who connected with us today. And all right,
Bye.
see
Have a
you
good
soon.
day.
Bye bye.
See you.